Sup witches, this is 9 the Hermit. We are continuing hashtag connecting with the tarot by coloring the tarot cards in the tarot coloring book and reading about it in these two books. The links are underneath the video. Today we are talking about the Eight of Swords. Here's my tarot coloring book, and this is how I colored the Eight of Swords. Now, this card, it's not an easy one to see, and like when you look at it the first time, it seems like very negative, right? So let's look at some of the keywords and some of the meanings from the tarot coloring book. Self-imposed prison, perhaps an attitude that's holding you back. Yeah, that's true. You've gotten yourself into this predicament and you may not realize that you can also get yourself out of it. The liberation can be yours. These are just some of the keywords from what I'm sharing with you guys. Now, if we go to the ultimate guide to the Rider-Waite Tarot, and if we read about the Eight of Swords, here I highlighted a bunch of things. So first, some of the sentences from their summary of the card. When you feel bound, it's a positive step to become aware of this. The swords give you the means to cut through the bones. You won't be able to change some things in your life without having grasped your thoughts. So your thoughts are important to be aware of when you feel stuck like that, stuck and frozen. The figure's position or pose. You are caught up by the weapons of the intellect. There's a big castle behind. The negative meaning of the castle could be cutting oneself off, imprisonment, isolation, shut off from the rest of the world. And the good meaning could be protection, safety, independence. The blindfold, unable to see what is going on, only able to see one's own point of view. The water and earth that she's standing on, mud, sludge. So if you look at the water, it gives you a sense like it happened to most of us when there's raining or you step in something wet and your shoe is wet, and then you just get this uncomfortable feeling and your feet are cold and you're just so uncomfortable and you don't feel good, and it's only the feeling in the car because she's stepping in partially in the water and her other leg is partially half water, half earth, and you just feel like you're stuck, you're tied up like that, and you step into something that feels kind of muddy and watery, and you just you don't feel good. You feel stuck, you feel frozen, and it's definitely not a good card when you try to get inside and to visualize yourself in that card. Bounce around the arms and legs. Negative, embarrassment, immobility, can't grasp things, stiff, don't touch, don't bend down. Encircling swords, so the swords around her. You possess the swords and the power to free yourself from undesirable bonds. The weapons of the intellect are your fortress, giving you security and protection in your life. Her clothes, she's wearing something red for lifeblood and the will. Bindings around the head and the hands, link between thought and act, a head and body, or gut feeling. A time of withdrawal within oneself, letting the blinds down. And now if we go to the 78 Degrees of Wisdom by Pollack and some of her keywords that I can share with you from this brilliant book that you should all get. So the 8, image of oppression. A person is tied up, surrounded by swords, symbol of authority behind her. Image of humiliation and shame. But if you see closely, the swords they're not forming a fence. The ropes do not seem very tight. And her legs are not tied up, so she can still walk or move. The blindfold symbolizing confusion, oppressive ideas, isolation from others in similar situations. This could be your own ignorant condition, or sometimes you are kind of trained to believe your own helplessness. Recognition of ignorance is the first and often the hardest step to true knowledge. So first you need to recognize that it's also your way of thinking, and how did you get yourself in this situation that you're stuck, to be able to recognize it and then move on. Reversed meanings. Freedom begins when we throw off our blindfolds, when we see clearly how we have arrived in whatever situation we are in. Liberation from some oppressive situation, first step of such liberation. And from the tarot coloring book, some of the keywords for the reversed meanings. Yeah, some freedom, exactly. When you're escaping something difficult and dropping a negative attitude. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. The Eight of Swords. Now, next week we will be talking about the Nine of Swords, also a very positive card. I'm being sarcastic. See you all next week.